We're back for our 5th episode of the Tim Quill Coach's Corner. Coach, welcome. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. Well, it's been a few weeks since we've chatted. Had meets back on the weekend of November 11th and 12th. A few off weeks, Thanksgiving holiday. We get back at it this week, but let's start off looking back. You had the opportunity to swim against WPI on November 11th here at Moore Fieldhouse in the Hutchinson Auditorium. As we talked about previously, this was your first time swimming against them, here during your time at Southern. What were your takeaways from your team's performance in that particular meet?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's, the first time we got to swim Paul Bennett and WPI, and they got a large program, 80+ athletes they brought down here, so it was a big recruiting weekend for us. Our women, we're fortunate to get a win that day, and our men struggled a little bit, which kind of was the same situation the following day. But I think our men are suffering from post graduation blues. We graduated, obviously, as you know, 6 quality guys last year. Brought in a good freshman class this year, but you can't expect that they're gonna just step right in and start making the impact that those athletes did, over the years. So it's going to take some time to build them up, and I think they're doing a nice job, and they're performing well. So we'll take the loss. I don't think that I don't think it really means as much, obviously, as a conference title does. So we'll just keep focusing in on the big prize in February.
The following days, as you alluded to, had the chance to go on the road, take on Pace, first road trip of the year, a conference opponent, a school that you'll see again down the road in February, one certainly that you're familiar with. Your thoughts on the performance against the Setters?
Well, it was our first time, away this year, so there's always that kind of home field type advantage, and where that home field advantage really applies is just that comfort of knowing your facility. We tried to go in with a different lineup on the women's side, and as we noticed, Pace was swimming very, very well. Completely opposite type program. They only have 12 or 13 ladies. Likewise for the men, smaller program. As the meet progressed, we had to make some adjustments. Fortunately for the women, we have a program that allows us that ability, which we haven't had for many, many years. So we were able to make some adjustments in some key races, get the wins where we needed, and obviously pull out the victory. On the men's side, look, I mean, the 12, 13 guys they have, most of them are international athletes. If I had to compare, the way they look compared to our 18-year-old, it's men versus boys. These guys are, they're no strangers to the pool. They're quality athletes. Maybe they haven't swum in short course yards, but until they came to the United States. But they're quality athletes, and when you're winning every single race, it's very, very difficult to beat an opponent like that. So, again, our men took a beating, but on a point end of the spectrum. But we walked away with some really good performances. So, I'm not disappointed at all, and we'll take the loss. And I know things will be a little bit different when we put a full slate of events together and put a championship team together in February. And I think a program like Pace, not that they won't be a factor, they certainly would be a factor, but I think that their challenges are as great, if not greater than ours, to win a conference team title, just because they don't have the numbers.
That was also the first road trip of the year for your program. Yeah. Just the way the schedule worked out, you had a string of home meets, from a bonding experience, from getting out of their comfort zone, as you touched on earlier. What were your thoughts and observations from the team standpoint for that particular road trip?
I mean, it was a great trip all around. Obviously the freshmen first time on the road. Maybe they're not used to traveling an all-day affair. Leaving at 10 o'clock in the morning and not getting back till 8, 9 o'clock at night. A little different format than what they're used to in high school. But I thought that they really handled themselves very maturely. I think they represented Southern Connecticut in the highest degree. They kept their focus, and it was a good first travel trip for us.
Coach, last question for you. As we talked about, you had a few weeks off. You had the Thanksgiving holiday sprinkled in there as well. You're back in action this weekend for the ECAC Championships, which will be a little bit different approach and look this year as it was last year. What are your expectations, and what are your thoughts heading into this weekend's action?
Well, our training over the past 2+ weeks has been really, really top-notch. Probably some of the best training I've seen from the program thus far. It was nice to give them a little bit of a break and send them home for a few days, and it was pretty nice for the coaching staff too to get a couple of days off, because we've been at it since second week in September. A little different format this year because we're going up for all 3 days of the championship, this mid-season championship. But our game plan is not really any different than last year. We were probably the only team there not wearing a tech suit. Many of the teams were shaved down last year. Most of them, if not all of them, did go through a pretty decent rest period. So they're on top of their game, at this particular point in the season, and it's kind of hard to explain, but the pool's a little lopsided in that situation because not everybody's on the same in the same situation, and we're going up there as a team that will not shave, will not wear a tech suit. Maybe our milers might, just to post some times for the conference championship, because they're timed final events, and we want to have that opportunity to get them in the final heat if we can before the meet starts. But we're going to go up there and we're going to race up against athletes that maybe are in a little better situation at this particular point. But we had a nice team meeting yesterday morning. Explained to everybody the circumstances behind the weekend, and I think that they understand that listen, we have everything to gain, nothing to lose going up there, with our backs up against the wall, if you want to call it that, just because the reality is you put on that tech suit and the game totally changes. But I think that they're pretty excited for the opportunity to race up against athletes that might have an advantage on them. And we just look at it as if we can race well this upcoming weekend, in an uncomfortable environment. Look, the fact is, it's easy to swim fast in December when when you put on a tech suit and rest and shave down. What's the you have a whole half of the season still yet to go, so there's really no pressure really to perform, and when that situation occurs, those athletes tend to perform pretty well, but we're thinking about February, and we're thinking about what type of program we can have in February, racing up against a lot of teams in our conference that probably will follow that format of putting on a tech suit and resting and maybe shaving down, and I just look at it as that we'll be the ones with the distinctive advantage in February. Maybe we may be all on the same playing field, and maybe the pool may be finally even. Won't be lopsided because everybody will be in a rest phase and shaved and tapered, but I think that we'll have a distinctive advantage because of the fact that we have raced up against better athletes all season long.
All right, well, Coach, good luck this weekend. Thanks
Thank
for joining us as always. Thank you for tuning in to this week's edition of the Tim Quill Coach's Corner. Have a great week, everyone.